So before building the XML parse method, so let's quickly recap like what we have done here. So the first step was to get this file using the input stream and then placing it into an array which is called as buffer, all the values, and then that buffer value or the byte value you are converting it into a string, and you are placing that entire string into a new variable called as string data. So next you are converting that string data into a JSON object, and now you are representing like all these values onto the screen using the method like you are using this. Okay, so here you have this JSON object. So from that JSON object you are retrieving this city name, city object. So in that city object you are having all these values like city name, longitude, and all this. So that thing you are representing it onto the screen using this set text and append methods. So somewhat similar thing has to be done with the XML. So let's do that. Okay, so now like whenever you click on the XML parse button, so then one is passed and this method has to be run. So I will just uncomment it. So if the mode is 1, then this function has to be started, right? So let me create this function here. So out of this I'll create a new function called as parse XML. Its return type is void, and I'll make it as public. Okay, so I have this function. So now in here, so now here you have to read the XML file, not this one, the XML file which you have created. So this file, right? So similar steps has to be followed. Like the first step was to read the file or to open the file using input string. So you will do this get assets dot open. The file is basically input dot XML file, and it will return you an input stream. So I will create a new input stream object, and I'll assign this file to it. Okay, so now so here just surround it with a try catch block. Okay, so now I have got this input.xml in this input stream. So next what I have to do is, okay, so here if you have worked with HTML or JavaScript, so they now in order to get an element in the web page, so what you will do something like document dot get element by id, right? So basically there you will use a keyword called as a document. So what does this document represent? Is basically it represents a tree structure. For example, a tree in the sense, so that tree will be having a root node. So to that root node, so there are many child nodes. Okay, so one child node it has, so several child node it will have. So from that, you can access various other elements. Similarly, in XML, what you will do is you have to create that document. So document creation is nothing but you have to create that tree structure. In order to do that tree structure, we are having something called a document builder factory. So create an object of this. So here give like document builder factory dot new instance. So what it will do is it will create an object of this document builder. So now I have this new object. So here what happens is like you have this document builder factory. So since document builder factory is an abstract class, what I have done is I have created this new instance. So new instance is a, see here it's a static method. So since it's a static method, you need not create an object in order to get this function. So directly you can make use of the class name and then you can give the function. So document builder dot factory dot new instance. So what it will do, it will basically, if you go here, it will return you this thing. So document builder factory implementation, which is of this type only. Now I can use this document builder factory, and there is a method called new document builder. So what it will do, so this will basically help me to create that document. So if you go to this here, it will return me uh, this class which is of the type document builder. So I have to create an object of that type, and I'll assign the return value to it. So here you are getting an error. So if you, okay, so just add this catch clause over here. Okay, so now you have created this new document builder. So using this, like you can create the document structure which you want. Okay, so now after this, so I'm having this file, right? So I want to make this document build. I want to use this document builder in order to build this file in this input.xml. So for that, I can just take the document builder class which I have created. In that, I can parse the first one which takes in the file as an argument. So in this, I can pass the input stream. So okay, so it's giving again add a catch clause. Okay, so now what it will do, so it will basically create the document structure. So document structure will be like, take a simple example like root. We're having this root node, and then in that root node, so there is some text called hello world. Okay, so now, so this is your XML file, right? So inside of this, so what will happen, so if you do the document builder, so what it will do is document builder. So see, so here the name of the tag is this. So name of the tag in the sense that that's an element. So so inside what will happen is it will be like element. So name of the element will be your root. Okay, so inside this root there will be a text node. So text node is what? So text node is your child node. So child node will be this text, that's hello world. Okay, so yeah, so this is the root node. So inside this there will be child node which is hello world. So now what you can do is, now you can easily access it by like this. So you can make use of this, like you have created the document builder, right? You can make use of this document builder dot get element by its id. So its id is basically root. So you can, if you do like document dot get element by id its root, then you will get this this place, and inside that you can get the values. Like if you do document dot get element by id root, and from that get the value, so you will get the value as hello world. So that's why we are using this document builder dot parse, so that it will be converted in this form, like this form, element root, element is root, then text node is this hello world, so that it's easier for us to retrieve the value. Okay, so we have passed this data, right? So now just assign this data to a document. Okay, so now I pass this data, and in the document, so like the data will be in this form. So there will be a element called as the element name root. So but in this case it will be like there will be this city. Inside the city several text nodes will be there. So yeah, so if you do like, so element will be city, this city, and text node will be, so the first text node will be this thing Mangalore, and then the second text node will be like 7813. So like that the document will be created. So yeah, now that value, that document has been stored in this document structure. Now if there are multiple elements, so I can make like, so this is necessary only if there are various elements. So since you are having the, since you are making this only for this much elements, so this step is not necessary. So just write it like this. So you can make use of this document dot normalize. So if there are, if you are using multiple data values, so what it will do is like, if see, if your city name is like this, and this part is basically below that, so then what happens is, so here you can see an empty string, like, so what the document builder will take, like, so it will create this thing as a separate text node. Again it will add a next line value to the text node, and also it will add this LURU part again to a text node. So if you don't normalize, so that's why you use this document dot normalize, so that it will understand that this entire thing is one element. So that's why you need to add this document dot normalize, because in most of the cases this data won't be in the proper format. So in order to have it in a proper format, we are using the document dot normalize. Once the we have successfully built this document on the XML file, we can we can get these elements now. So here what you can do is, so if you go to this XML, so here records is the main root node. So inside that record we are having this city. So this city is the child node. So inside this city we are having several other children nodes. So now if I copy this, so now our root node, that is record, is having two cities, right? So I name it as Bangalore, and yeah, so these two are the city. And here what I'll do is I'll give it an ID of 1 and 2. Okay, so now our record consists of 2 cities. Now here what I can do is I can make use of this document which we have created, and I can do something like get document. So get elements by tag name. So tag is basically this thing, the city. So if I do this, what I'll get is I'll get all the elements like which are having this city has its tag name. Here I have these two elements which are having this city, so I'll get those two elements. Okay, so now uh, yeah, so if you go to this get elements, so it will return you node list type of object. So I'll create a new object which is of the type node list. Okay, so now this node list is having all the city object. So all this like this city and this city. Okay, so next what I'll do is uh, so since I am having so I have added this to right, so I have added one more city over here. So in order to iterate over these two cities, I will use a for loop. Okay, so for that take this for loop int I equals to 0, and it has to iterate over, it has to get 1 and 2, right? So you can do something like you can take this. Okay, so I is lesser than, you can take the node list, and in that there is a method called get length, so it will return you the length of the node list. And then yeah, so here, so get length will basically return you the length of the node list. So it's 2, right? So our for loop will run for 2 times. So when this I equals to I is 0, so basically it will get this. So in order to get the element, it's an you can use something like node list dot item. You can pass in the index. So index we are using the I variable, so I will pass in the I. And if you go to this item, so the return type of the item is a node. So I'll store this value in this node, or I will name it as city. Okay, so now yeah, so now when I do node list dot item of 0, then I'll get this this city, the first city that is Mangalore. I mean like all the elements, the city with the ID of 1. And then if I do like with item ID of item of 2, then I will get item of 1, then I'll get this city. Okay, so now it's in the form of this node. So but this node doesn't have any okay, so before that, okay, so you need to, like it's optional, so you can add a if condition over here to check whether this city node which you have obtained consists of, like it's actually node type or not. So then you can do it like city node dot get node type. So if it is equals to you're having this node dot element node, so you have to see whether this node is of the type element or not, in the sense like it consists of this many data or not. So that you have to check. So it's optional. And then inside this what you can do is so this node method doesn't have methods like get attributes and all those. So now in order to get that, you can just convert this into another form like element. So this is a new type. So here you can give like, just give it like C, and then so you can cast it to the element type, or else you can take this city and then you can cast it to the element type. Okay, so now this element, like it consists of these many methods, like it is having this tag name, it's having attribute and all those, right? So that thing you can make use of it now. Okay, so now after this, this city will basically consist of this city, right? This element. So now I can do like So to see whether it's properly passed or not, so I can make use of this C. I can do something like get attribute. So like see here, so this city name, longitude, and all those things are like they are called as tag. Okay, so then this inside whatever you are passing, right? So in this here, if you pass anything like ID and all those, so those are called as attribute. So in this for this city I have placed an attribute like ID, right? So I can do something like c dot get attribute. Inside this I will pass in the name of the attribute. So here I am given it as ID. So if you go to this get attribute, it will return you something which is of the form string. So I will just store it in this st, right? So string attribute, and then what I do is I will just print the value to the console. Okay, so now let's run our app and see. Now if I see the app and if I click on Parse XML, I'll get nothing over there. So but here, see, you can see the output like 1 and 2. So those 1 and 2 are nothing but the ID which I have passed it here, right? Okay, so now I have got these two values for the cities, right? So this city and this city, so that's present in this node list, so which I have gotten by this city. Now instead of node list, so let me rename it to city list, and here you have this element. So here let me rename it to C, and here also you give it a C. So here also make it as C, and in the element just make it as city. So now it's more readable. Okay, so after doing this, now you need this child node, right? So for that what I can do is, so this, see, so now this city, okay, so this city is basically representing the ID 1 city, right? So the zeroth element. So what I do is I'll take that city, and there is something called get child nodes. So child nodes in the sense it will, so I am in the city 1, so it will give all these nodes. So these are basically its child node, right? So all these nodes are children of this city, right? So if you go to this child node, so it will return me a node list. So I will store it in the node list. So here I will name it as city detail list. Okay, so I have got this child list. Now you have, what you have done is you have gotten all the child nodes of the city. So before here what you have did, so you have taken the city, so you have taken the elements which are having this tag name as city, and then you have iterated over all the, like in order to get the individual cities, you have iterated over this, right? So similarly now you have gotten this uh, city, this child nodes. Now you have to iterate over those child nodes in order to get the value. Okay, so now to iterate you can make use of the for loop. J equals to 0, so j less than, take this city detail list dot get its length, and then just do j plus plus. Okay, so now what you can do is, so here what you have done, so here you have taken this city list and you have got the first item, right? So similar thing you have to do, you're taking the city detail list, from that you are taking the first item. So first item in the sense j index value you are passing, so the item will return you a thing which is of the type node. I will just give it like node n equals to city detail, and then what you have done, so then you have added this condition. So add it like if n dot get the node type, if it is equals to node dot element node, then here you have done this typecasting, that is you have converted this node into an element. So similar thing you have to do it over here. So you have this element, that is node element, which is n, so that thing you need to convert it into an element. So I will just name it as city detail. No, but I already have it. No, so I will just name it as city detail. And yeah, so here you add a conversion like element. Okay, so now I have done with this. So next what I have to do, so here, okay, so here I did like get attribute. So but in this case, so I have no attribute, like, so what are they? So these are nothing but tags, right? So for the tags, what you can do is you have the city detail. You can make something like city detail is the individual element, so you can do like dot get uh content, got text, get text content. So if you do get text content, so basically this Mangalore is like a text node. So the 70, 78, 13, all these are nothing but text node. So if you do get text content, you are getting a string. So text content is nothing but like whatever you have written inside this. So whatever is present in this node, so you are getting it back. So get the text content. So it will be in the form of string. So this is the actual value which you are getting. Just give it like a value. Okay, so now what you can do is, so now, okay, so before adding it to the screen, so let me just display it on the console. uh, okay, so just make it plus here. Okay, so now let's run it and see. Now if you go to the lockout, and okay, so here you can see the output. So these are the individual text node value. So it's in red because I have given like log e, so e stands for error, so it's coming as red color. And yeah, so now I'm getting this value, so this value only I have to display it onto the screen. Okay, so to add it on the screen, so like there are several methods, so I felt this was easier, so I'm doing this only. So you had this 1 second, so you had this, yeah, so you had this XML placeholder, right? So what to do is, so when you click on this XML parse, so on the start of it, so just take the XML placeholder and make like set text to this empty null value. Okay, now when you go in here, so I have to add that individual value onto the screen, right? So I will take the XML placeholder, and then to that I'll append the text in the sense I'll append the value which I have got over here. So okay, so if I add that, so just add one more thing, like add this next line value, and now if I run, okay, so now if you see here, so you can see all the cities have been added. So I have used 2 cities, so that's why 2 cities have been added over there. And okay, so if I go back and click on parse JSON, so I'm getting this values, so whichever is present in that. And if I'm clicking on this XML, I'm getting this value. So yeah, so this was the main task. So now let's work on the UI part of this. Okay, so now before making the UI, let's just go through this function once again. Okay, so whenever you click on the parse XML button, so this function is called, and here, so first you are reading this file using input stream, then you are using this document builder instance in order to get this document builder, so that you can pass this file, like pass in the sense you are building a document tree. And then here what you are doing is you are using this document tree, and from that you are taking this city. You are getting this value by passing in the tag name. Okay, so now in this thing, so you will get these 2 cities because they are having this city has its tag name. Then you are iterating over each one of them. Okay, so now you are in the first city, right? So you are in this city, So when you are in the city, yeah, so you are taking the city and you are placing it in this C. Here you are just checking the type of it, and then here you are like you are typecasting it to from node you are typecasting it to element, and after that you are just okay. So this is not needed, like getting the attribute name. So it was just for understanding. So let me comment this out. Okay, so you are making this you are getting this you are converting it into an element. Okay, so after that you are taking this city. So like now we are in the city, right? So first city, from that you are getting this child nodes. So you are taking the city and you are doing get child nodes, and you are placing those child nodes in this city detail list, and now you are iterating over each one of these. So that's why you have used one more for loop in order to iterate over this child nodes. So yeah, so again same thing is done. So item dot 0 you will get this city name. You have got the city name. Here you are again checking it, then you are typecasting it to element, and then from that city detail you are getting the text. So what is the text? So that's manual. So that thing you are getting, you are storing it in value, so that you are appending it to the screen. So again this loop will get completed. It will go to the next iteration, it is 1, and here for the item 1 you are getting this longitude. Again the same thing is taken, and then the value is been appended. So yeah, so this was the XML parsing. So now let's see the UI part. Now for the UI part, just go to this activity main, activity view XML, and in here, okay, so now instead of displaying it like side by side, let me just, okay, so so first let us increase the text size of it. So you are getting the XML data here, right? So not here, so you are getting it in, yeah, so here you are getting the XML data. So here you can increase the text size to 25 dp, and then okay, so this is the, so here for this heading you can give a text color of teal, and then text size of again 30 dp. Okay, so just copy this to JSON data also. And again you can take it and do it for this also. Okay, so now you can see, yeah, you can see like this. So here what you can do is, instead of displaying it side by side, you can just take it and drag it in the center. Okay, and even this also place it below this, and this you can just grab it here. And this JSON data you can place it on top of this. I will just place it little below. Okay, so now we have done this, and let's add a heading, like take this text view and just place it here. Just add some constraint to it. And in the text view just give like pass data. In the code to increase the font size 225 or 3080p. Okay, I have added constraints to this two fields, like from here to here and from the top, and then I have arranged it like here, and similar thing with this thing also, JSON data. And so these two are the actual placeholders where data will be displayed. So these are the headings, and this is the common heading on the top. So for this two I will just give it an ID like XML heading, and for this also. Okay, so now before making any changes, let's run and see. Okay, so now here you can see if I click on this, okay, it looks something like this. And on JSON, okay, so see, whenever I click on this JSON, I don't want this heading to be displayed and also this XML data to be displayed, right? So for that, okay, so now I'll go to this view activity, and here, yeah, so here whenever this pass JSON function is called, I don't want to display this XML data and this XML data, right? So this placeholder and the heading. So what I will do is I take the XML placeholder and there I will make set text to this null. Similarly, I will take the XML heading. Okay, so first I will find it over here. I have XML heading, and then here I will find it by ID. XML heading. Okay, so then here I will set text to null. Similarly, I have to do it for the JSON placeholder, JSON heading. So we go here. So in the pass XML, I make this JSON heading. Okay, so now I have done this. I've done for JSON heading also. I have to make it for JSON placeholder too. Okay, so instead of placing it here, I will place it on the top here, and then here I can give the heading to null. Okay, so and one thing is, like in the input file I have this two city, right? So I will remove one city so that it will be proper, and then okay, so let's see now. Okay, so now if you click on this, so you are able to get this data here, like the single data, and also here also, but these things are not properly aligned. And one more thing that you can do here is you can add the tag names over here, like the city name and all those. Now to add the tag name, that is the city name and all those, what you can do is you can go to this view activity, and in the parse XML, uh, you can come here, and here what you can do is along with the get text content, you can take this city detail value, and in that there is a method called get tag name. So it will return you the tag. So that thing you can align. Okay, you can assign it to tag value variable. Okay, so on this tag value you can append it over here. So you are having this value. Along with that, append the tag value, and in the middle you can add a hyphen. Okay, so after this, similar thing you can do it for the JSON also. Okay, for the JSON, what you can do is you can directly here only you can take the set text and add the city name. Append the like you can concatenate it with the city name and add a hyphen. So similarly, I do it for longitude and all this. Okay, so now you have this, and yeah, so one more thing that you can do is you can reduce this font size a little bit. So it's now 30 dp, right? So make it to 25. Okay, so not that one. Sorry. So this JSON data. Okay, so reduce it to 20, and also the XML data. Okay, so now if you click on this pass, okay, so you can see this tag names have been added, like city name is this and all this. Also for JSON, you can see like this. So now again you can make little slight changes to this UI, like add a little space between them, and yeah, and make this heading center. So let's do that. Okay, to add the spaces, just take this placeholder and append next line value. So it will add the spaces. Similarly, do it for the JSON also. Okay, so in the JSON, you have to do so just add it here. Okay, so here the JSON data or the XML data has been placed like here, and then JSON also has been placed properly. So now this looks fine. So you can make the UI changes. So if you want for this, like this much is enough for this. Yeah. So if you go to this Parse XML and here, so this can be done in several other way. Like you can create a method down here and you can call it repeatedly, or else you can do it like this. So I felt this was easier, so I applied this, and now like go through this method once again properly, and also the above method. So yeah, so this was about the 6th lab program.